Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 356 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined, as always, on occasion, by a card-carrying member of the American Honky Tonk Bar Association, Willie Saylor from Easton, Pennsylvania. This should be the last, or close to the last, episode where Willie is we get basement vision. It's gonna look nice. We had our guy Efren Salinas on the scene, getting things ready to go. So far, we haven't reaped any fruits of that labor, but the harvest is coming.
The Nomad saw it.
It looks
What do you think, Nomad?
I think it will look fantastic. Like CP said, it's going to be another week or so. But when it's finished up, like what I saw had a lot of potential.
A lot of potential. Love potential. That's how I think about Willie. A lot of potential. Now, it's amazing. Iowa and Oklahoma State just wrestled the duel of the year. It was fantastic time in Stillwater, by the way. But I feel like the topic of conversation, for whatever reason, and it started with Tom Brands, frankly, and then it continued on Friday when I called into a local Stillwater radio station who was absolutely shredding us. And then it continued through Sunday when people realized, when the fringe fans, the part-timers realized it's not going to be on television. And then Intermat, which, you know what? Craig Sesker, I expect it from Craig. He doesn't know what's going on. Intermat, shame on you for running that garbage article full of fallacies and just proving the point of what dinosaurs you have become in the wrestling media space. And it became this weird thing, and I asked for questions from friends, and everyone's asking about this, asking about us explaining capitalism to people and explaining, why are people so not understanding? Why is someone who's supposed to be covering the sport so outside of how this actually works? I'll break it down really quick because everyone's curious for Willie's take here, obviously. We are in the events business. We are a live streaming company, okay? So we have to get rights to events to stream. Ideally, those rights would be good and contain things that people want to watch, okay? We go for those rights. Those are the rights we want. For example, Oklahoma State, they're pretty good. If we can get the rights to their duels, that would be a good thing because a lot of people like to watch them wrestle. And if we could get them wrestling Iowa, that would be really, really good, wouldn't it? Because everyone loves Iowa or loves to watch Iowa, right? So, yeah, we did buy the rights because here in America, you can buy a thing and get it. Now, that thing could have been purchased by ESPN. It could have been purchased by NBC. It could have been purchased by Bleacher Report, whoever. But they didn't, right? They didn't. They didn't want it. They don't see the value in it. They don't care about having wrestling. And everyone talks about ESPN's investment in wrestling. It's hilarious. It's like they just put stuff on TV and everyone thinks ESPN's in on wrestling. They're not doing any content. They're not doing any contextualizing. They're not telling the stories of the sport like we are.
They had Yanni. They had Yianni-McKenna.
They had Yianni-McKenna on their platform. Didn't do anything about it. And the problem is they don't even know what it means to have Yianni-McKenna on their platform. They don't even know what that means. They don't know that that's a big deal. That's one of the most anticipated matches of the year. And we're the only ones providing any context or content about that event. But we're trying to help you out, ESPN. And so for Craig Sesker to say, well, this should be free and available. Well, I don't know. Maybe Craig still got the mom's cable hookup. But cable costs money. ESPN is actually the biggest part of your cable bill. About $9 of your cable bill is ESPN per month, whether you watch it or not. Okay, so I don't know what he's talking about free, and also I don't know what he's talking about in terms of a webcast. If he's not seeing the trend in sports media and how someone in wrestling media cannot see the way this is going, the ESPN just launched an app, an over-the-top streaming service, a webcast service, as Craig Sesker may call it. This is the way the world is going, and old wrestling journalist fuddy-duddies who are still back in the 90s. And let's just say this. Craig Sesker is an Iowa guy through and through. He is not an unbiased journalist. He loves Iowa. And you know what? He heard what Tom Brands said, and he said, you know what? Here's a fun way for me to curry a little more favor with the Hawkeyes. And it's not much more than that. And this guy, the fact that he would put in print that he found out via text message that Spencer Lee lost to Nick Piccinini shows his lack of energy, caring, passion for the sport. The people he's trying to serve on Internet have 10 times more passion and knowledge about the sport if he could actually put that in writing. I was astounded to read that. And all
There's two options there, right? There's two options. Either he's lying. He's either lying to make his point that he found out through text message, or he's telling the truth. And in which case, if you're telling the truth that you found out that pick Spencer result through a text, what do you do? Why? How do you even cover wrestling? I mean, and you don't really cover wrestling anymore. That sounds like a you problem, not anything else.
Yeah. So it was sort of strange. I mean, but actually the most encouraging thing was being on social media. The 2 years ago, it was bad, right? And we got shredded, and it was horrible. But man, we've come so far, and doesn't have anything to do with us, but we've come a long way, and the feedback from the community has been amazing. And for every idiot, there's 15 people saying, "You guys are doing great. We appreciate you." Which you don't even know how much that means that you guys are appreciative, and that because we just love to do this job, and the fact that other people get a kick out of it, it's awesome to learn.
Yeah, and don't confound things. We're not talking about the streaming quality. We know a couple years ago it was bad. We know there was some glitches with this one. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the premise, right? The premise of should it be on ESPN or should it be on Flow? And if anyone out there or Sesker is trying to, this webcasting thing, and it's only online only. If you're trying to throw negative connotations at that, guys, that's the way the world's going. I don't know if you're a dinosaur, but that's the way everything's going. ESPN just launched. I mean, UFC fights are ESPN Plus. I mean, UFC fights. So don't say, "Oh, well, it's only online, so it must be a second-rate." Being online is a second-rate thing. No, the UFC is online. A lot of things are online only. So get over that bit. As far as Sesker and Intermat goes, I mean, Intermat's product has gone away. But you know what I was thinking about, and it's a good point, because listen, Intermat was the first. I mean, they were the big dogs at one point.
Yes.
And at a time when wrestling was really small, Intermat was the go-to website, right?
If they had any interest in innovation, we would be looking up at Intermat right now.
Right.
They would be the king.
If Intermat, I live in a town with Bethlehem Steel, right? They didn't evolve and adapt, and they didn't update their equipment and production model, and now the whole thing's rusted out, and they went under. I mean, Intermat didn't evolve. They should have been. If they had vision, they would have been long ahead of us. They would have been out in front of us. But it goes to show, if you don't have a revenue stream, that's the crap that you have to put up. I mean, Intermat's putting crap up. Intermat's putting crap from Sesker up, and they're putting Ambulance Chaser Mark Palmer stuff up only because it's free. I mean, they don't have no money to pay them, right? So they put whatever somebody's willing to sacrifice their time for. But that's because they have no revenue stream. And guys, if we don't have a revenue stream, Flow doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
it's part and parcel of what's going on. You can't say, Flow, do Iron Man, Flow, do Geary, and then when the big one comes up, we don't have it. I mean, the big events subsidize a lot of what we do, so we can put up 30 articles a week.
Yeah, I mean, a few of the fallacies in the article. He says he messaged a longtime wrestling journalist Sunday and asked him why this duel wasn't on TV. His answer, money talks. Actually, and Oklahoma State made money from people who produced the webcast. The money put up for the webcast is what kept it on television. No, if it came down to money, we wouldn't have got it. The fact is, no one else put up any money to do it, so it's not about money talks. That's wrong. That's dinosaurs talking to dinosaurs. Then he says fans have to pay to watch a live stream. Who is getting? Listen, guys, hook it up. Who's got this free cable hookup everyone's talking about? I'm trying to figure it out.
Black box. Can I make a point about
ESPN. Do you think if ESPN wanted it, they wouldn't outbid us?
Yeah. You think we listen?
To that point about the money talks thing, with wrestling being on television. So the first thing you got to remember is ESPN has a specific deal about how many Olympic sports college events they have to show over the course of a year. And I believe what I was told is the number is 14. This is like second, third information. So I'm just telling you what my understanding is, but I believe it's 14. And a lot of those go to wrestling because when you look at Olympic sports, wrestling is more popular than a lot of the Olympic sports. But here's the other thing, guys. Look at the TV ratings, okay? And to be registered under the TV rating, to have like a rank when they come out with, okay, this is us and whatever TV show is number one right now, right? If you are not a .01 rating, you don't get shown. And to my understanding, there are no duels this year that have drawn a .01 TV rating.
All right, we got the
Nielsen index. Why would ESPN, unless they were contractually obligated to, or anyone, pick up a duel when no one's going to watch it? And obviously not no one, right? A lot of people watch it. But in terms of what they're looking at and how they're trying to make money, it's no one. It literally doesn't register.
All right,
let's talk about the duel.
Let's talk about this dang duel because it was, man, I had such a good weekend. It was so freaking fun the whole time. I love Stillwater. I love Oklahoma State. I love being there.
You've changed your tune, huh?
What do you mean?
You have not always loved Stillwater. Don't even try to act like you have.
Well.
Nice helmet, Bradkey.
Oh, yeah. Talk about this helmet
yeah,
real quick.
So the official long snapper of FloWrestling and Flow Football, Casey Kreider, hooked us up with, All-American Pro Bowler Casey Kreider even signed it.
Wow.
But he sent it to us, and we want to have it on display every show.
Yeah, I think we will. So thank you to Casey. Definitely, long-time listener, good friend of the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I like. Listen, I'm scarred from Stillwater. February 17th, 2000 or February 19th, 2017. That was a very sad day.
Understandable.
But I got back on the horse, loved it, even though
I love Stillwater.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. So, all right, let's get to the wrestling. I feel like we're going to bounce around from like some of the antics that were going on, but we have to start at 125 pounds where this duel started. Nick Piccinini pinfalls Spencer Lee. And it was kind of like how we say the matches need to go if you want to beat Spencer Lee. Ward off that early takedown, which Pitch did a great job. I mean, that was a long defense. I really am still surprised that Spencer didn't find a way to a finish there. He was on leg standing, and he tried a couple different ways to finish. Couldn't quite get him down. Pitch did a nice job on the edge. And then, were any of you guys, and I actually asked Nick about this after match, I was kind of surprised that he went underneath Spencer. I feel like, to me, that's a little bit, is the mystique, to me, I say the mystique's wearing off a little bit, or nationally, that you would go under this guy and find a way to get out. That says to me the country's like, you can get away from this guy.
I thought it was crazy, to be honest with you.
I mean, it was crazy.
Chris Perry knows better than I do. Piccinini knows better than I do. John Smith knows better than I do. But 0-0 match, you're going down?
We're going down.
What? I don't get it.
Did you guys hear John's quotes afterwards?
No.
About it? Bader asked him about it, and he was like almost annoyed that it was even asked. He's like, Nick knows my feelings about it. It wasn't even discussed this week. He's like, in a 0-0 match, you're just going to give up that point?
Yeah, but sure. I mean, far be it from me or Willie, but
yeah.
It's not, you don't get the point unless you get away. And this guy has turned Nick Piccinini routinely. And
give up a point. I mean, you give away a point, you could lose a point because he could ride you out the whole period.
Yeah. And so, but he gets away, He gets away. He's got he was nearly away a couple times. Then he eventually gets away. And then at that point on, you could just kind of see it. Like, it was Spencer was like breaking his position. He wasn't he was like standing straight up, breaking it. Nick got in on that single leg so easy. And then this is like, to me, just a lack of innovation. Like, Spencer's goes to these splits. We've seen him do it 1,000 times. People are going to prepare now. Okay, I'm gonna get on a single leg. He's gonna do a split.
Look at the body language.
He's done it before. Hold on, Willie. So he's done this before, right? Gets in these splits, and Pitchney wasn't able to convert off the cradle. But there's got to be a next thing from Spencer there. You can't just go to this thing every single time and not think that the country's going to adjust. Pitchney adjusts, locks his hands, and it's over.
Yeah. Something, I don't know what's going on with Spencer. We don't talk about it. I don't know. Nobody talks about it. Nobody comes out and says, Spencer is this. But if you watch the body language after he gives up the escape, it's clear that like a switch happened.
Yeah, there's not that same, I don't know what it is. He was like a Tasmanian devil last year. Watching but at Stillwater, people are, there's people there connected that know what's going on, coaches, etc., people close to programs. There's nothing wrong with him. He's not sick. There's no illness. It's just a.
I know.
I mean,
I know.
There's no. I mean, that's going to like blow minds on Hawkeye Report because they're just hoping he's sick. He's not sick.
Hoping he's sick because that would explain it.
Yes.
The thing is, he's not sick.
And
so.
Yeah.
So what's the explanation? I don't know. But you can tell that the same pop isn't there that it was previously.
Getting back to that first period real quick that you kind of opened with, was that more impressive? So comparing like the Pitch loss and the Rivera loss, was it more impressive what Pitch did than what Rivera did? Because Rivera kind of kept distance and Spencer never even really got in to attempt a shot in the first, whereas Pitch fought off a Spencer shot, which is kind of, when we're talking about the game plan that Pitch could replicate, the game plan was staying away, not necessarily fighting off a Spencer takedown.
Right. I mean, when first period, Spencer gets his hands locked on the legs, it's 2. Basically every time. I bet there's hardly any examples where that's not the case. And to your point, Pitch stayed much more engaged than Rivera did. I think all it does is say there's more than one way to beat this guy.
Right.
You don't have to.
Sure. You
don't have to kind of Delgado it and keep major space and dart in. You can stay in there and hand fight with this guy, and he didn't get mowed over. And so, I mean, right now, Willie, are you still picking Spencer to win? I'm asking myself the same question. I don't know. I'm struggling with this. I don't know how I can pick him.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not picking Spencer to win. Like, I would pick him after Sebastian. I was still picking him.
Yeah, same here.
After Midlands, I was still picking Spencer, but.
Because at that point, it was one bad tournament. Now he hasn't looked right since. He had his early December struggle with Mackle, which originally was like bizarre. He kind of gassed against Mackle. He still majored him, but he really fell off. Bad Midlands performance relative to Spencer's expectations. And then we haven't really seen him. He had like a 4-1 win over Sean Russell. Then he missed Rivera, and he comes back here. He's not looking up and to the right. Like Pat Lugo, he's looking up and to the right now for Iowa. Spencer Lee seems like he's back where he was.
I think, the Sean Russell thing going 7 minutes is probably the most encouraging thing out there. I mean, if you text somebody up in 4 minutes, we know Spencer can do that. What we don't know right now is if Spencer can face adversity in the 5th and 6th minute.
Yeah.
Because he seems to have a 5-minute tank right now for whatever reason. I don't know.
And, what do we make of Coach Brand's comments about taking shortcuts? I don't know what that means. He said we're taking shortcuts.
What did he say? I didn't hear it.
Basically, Bader asked him about, at the press conference, about, 125, what's going on there. And Tom didn't say specifically Spencer Lee is taking shortcuts, but he basically transitioned right to that and said, hey, we're taking shortcuts and it's showing up and it bit us here. And so I don't know if that's shortcuts in his training, shortcuts just in the fact that the tactics he implemented in his finish or in his defense it could mean any number of things. I'm not sure what. But that's got to be concerning. I mean, if there's a shortcuts issue on February 24th of the wrestling season, that's problematic.
Yeah, it's the last week of the season. Yeah. Hey, now, one thing, I don't know if we want to talk about this. We could talk about it Thursday because there's no wrestling this week. But seeding is going to be real interesting at 25.
Yes.
Would you like me to talk about that?
So this win, so everything could have kind of fallen into place a lot more neatly. If Spencer beats Pitch, sure. And then, Big Ten plays out how it plays out, we're probably looking at one of those guys as the 1 seed, Rivera. But now Pitch has a legitimate case for the 1 seed now, as will Sebastian Rivera if he wins Big Tens, right? And then you have these guys really – The craziest thing and the biggest point of the 125 seeding, the thing that is going to be the most juicy, is Spencer Lee could legitimately be a 4, 5, or 6 seed, right?
Yeah.
Because
we were going through it yesterday.
Vito
Me and Chris
Rujal,
were going through it yesterday on the phone, and we're like, Spencer could be really low.
Yes, because you've got Rivera, you've got Pitch, you've got Bresser. Okay, Bresser's only lost to Rivera. You've got undefeated Vito at 125. You got undefeated Jack Mueller. Those guys win out, and Spencer will have then, if we subscribe to the fact that he won't win Big Tens, he will have 3 losses. He has to be in, and his best win will be Glory or Russell. So it's not like he's got some huge signature win. He hasn't beaten a Pitch or a Bresser or a Mueller, et cetera, et cetera. So he doesn't have great wins, and all he really has is his mystique, which has no seeding criteria. It doesn't matter that he won NCAAs last year. So it's going to get dicey.
It is going to get dicey. Bresser has 1 loss, which is to Rivera in overtime. But what's his best win?
Yeah, and he has not faced much rigor.
He has not hit. Right.
I think he beat Russell.
Well, so looking at seeding, as I've been trying to do for the last couple weeks here, in my opinion, Rivera still holds the inside track to the 1 seed. Now, a lot of that depends on how the coaches rank go, right? Because people could rank Pitch number 1. I don't think anyone should be terribly upset if they do. No. But right now, Rivera's the 1, and I think Pitch is going to end up being the 2. Looking kind of at the seeding criteria, Rivera has better RPI. He's got better quality wins. If they're both undefeated, that's a wash. They didn't wrestle each other, so that's a wash. And common opponents is a wash because they're both undefeated.
He barely has better quality wins, though.
But I'm talking about from the standpoint of what the NCAA determines a quality win. Currently, Sebastian Rivera 36.5, Pitch and Yanni 27.5.
Well, they both beat Foley.
Oh, they both beat Foley?
Mm-hmm.
There was one top 10 win that Sebastian had. Well, I guess Bresser.
Well, Pitch has a win over Russell, which Rivera doesn't have because Russell didn't wrestle him, but he could get that at Big Tens. And also the other thing is, Willie, maybe they're close in quality wins now, but if Rivera goes and wins Big Tens, he's going to have way more quality wins because he's in a better conference, whereas Pitch, where's his Big 12 competition? I mean, the next ranked guy at the Big 12 is Cole Werner, right, at 15. Or no, North Dakota State's Brent Fleetwood. I forgot about NDSU in the Big 12 now. But yeah, I mean, those aren't going to measure up. Now, this could all be a moot point. Pitch could lose at Big 12s, or Arujau could lose, and Mueller could, lose to Foz. And then Foz, I don't think will have a claim because he's hardly wrestled at all this year. But, right now, if things kind of just go chalk, it's going to be really interesting how they seed Spencer Lee.
What were 3 losses?
3 losses, but what? I mean, that's a lot of losses. He'll have beaten Piotrowski, Oliver, Moisey, Russell, Glory twice. So he's got 5 good wins, but none of those guys are top 8. He won't, or no, Russell is. So he'll have 1 top 6 win. It's going to be very interesting how this plays out. Now, if he wins Big Ten, Spencer, which we can't rule this out either. This dude is still a freak of nature. Then Pitch is a clear 1 at that point. And then it would go, then is Spencer the 2 at that point? Or does Russell, that could really stir it up. Because there's some guys that could maybe jump Sebastian and Spencer.
Based on their seasons. So, the entire of the season, right? Not just kind of where we're looking at right now.
Mm-hmm.
do you, because you guys still ranked Mueller below Spencer Lee, which I don't disagree with.
Yeah.
But do you think the coaches agree with that?
Not necessarily. I mean, I could see you could certainly say we're still factoring in what we saw last March, right? And what we saw last year with Spencer. That still matters something, especially with someone like Mueller, who it's not like he's been in the streets a lot, right?
He doesn't have a ranked win.
Doesn't have a ranked win. So, yeah, he's still ahead of him. He faced way better wrestlers Spencer has. So, they may look at it that way. I don't think that it would be right, but I wouldn't be shocked if they did. They say this guy's got 2-3 losses and this guy's undefeated, and simply put, he should be ranked higher.
Real quick, let me run through the coaches ranking roster for 125. Dan Wernsberger, Jim Heffernan, Brian Smith, Steve Garland, Kyle Rochelle, John Smith, Jason Borelli, Scott Moore. Those are the 8 people responsible for determining where the 125 coaches rank plays out, which in my opinion will have the biggest impact over everything, because there's not going to be a whole lot of changes in RPI. And then obviously,
so let's start emailing them. Fans, email those coaches. Tell them what this should be.
Yeah, just
And
Coach
then
Wernsberger.
And then real quick, and again, getting back to Vito undefeated, currently I believe 17-0 at 125. You still have him 7.
Mm-hmm.
So Russell, we project based on if things go chalk, 3rd at Big Tens. Vito, the favorite EIWAs. How high can Vito jump? Can Vito jump over Bresser, in your opinion, based on his season?
It'll be tough. It'll be tough for him to jump Bresser, because Bresser just has some good wins that he's still kind of that anchor him a little bit higher. And Glory, a couple Glory wins, I don't think is enough to jump someone of Bresser's caliber. But then again, they could definitely look at it that way and say, all right, this guy's undefeated at the weight. He's wrestled a significant number of matches. He should go ahead of Ronnie Bresser.
Yeah, so I still think Rivera has the inside track in that, again, if things go chalk, Pitch will have to beat Spencer in the NCAA semis, and that Mueller and Vito are going to have a hard time cracking into that top 3.
When do Big Ten seeds come out, or pre-seeds?
Not for another 8 or 9 days.
When do post seeds come out?
Oh, big fan of post seeds.
All right, Dayton, DeSanto.
Okay. All right. So we're done. We're done with Pitch Lee for now. But if you have more thoughts, I may have some more. I'm happy to discuss them. How about this? We're having a little freak out, a silent freak out. Bracky and me, basically everyone that was there, because every Iowa wrestler was there warming up, getting ready, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna happen again. Because DeSanto was not there. He was not on the premises.
We were literally there when Iowa rolled up because we wanted to get video of them walking in. And I was like, wait a minute. Well, Nick was like, wait a minute, where's DeSanto? I was like, oh my God, here we go.
Uh-oh.
We're freaking out.
Yeah.
Paul Glenn was getting a good warm-up in. We're like, oh boy, it's really happening, guys. But it sounds like some Iowa guys, just historically, they'll keep them off site till the very end and just bring them into weigh-ins. If they have maybe a bigger cut or something, they'll do that. So he was there. He wrestled. He had pretty good behavior. I liked his stall fist, actually, because he was spot on. The official was, I thought, in general, fine. This was not a good match for that official. And this is a pretty high-quality official. He officiates NCAAs. You see him all the time. He's in the mix. But, man, he blew the edge stall call, which I blame the rule. I blame the rule for that. What? Hold on.
He called edge stalling just like the way he wanted to call it the whole entire
time.
duel.
It was bad. I can't.
I don't know if I don't know if he blew it or he just came up in his own mind and said, "I'm doing what I think is right."
Yeah, and if there is literally, I feel like the video that they should show for an edge stall is exactly what DeSanto did to Dayton Fix, right? He backs him up. He's back evading. He keeps him on the edge. He's on the edge. Dayton's not able to circle back in. He doesn't seem like he's attempting to circle back in. He continues to snap, shoot, and then he shoots him off the mat completely out of bounds. If that's not the edge stall call, that's that's Willie and I's case in point. For now 3 years, we've been talking about this rule and why it's stupid and why you should just go to something more black and white where it's not subject to this interpretation. And yet here we are. You just can't. Why can't you just admit the rule is dumb? It doesn't make sense. And the whole point is, well, it should have been called this way. We know it should have been called that way. But they're not calling it that way because it's written in a vague way that leaves them all kinds of outs. And here we are again. And it didn't impact the match.
Time.
It didn't impact the match. But at the same time, it's not about the impact on the match. It's about the broader point, okay, that we can't get our rules uniform here. And it's a simple fix.
I think that this entire duel was a glaring example. You could play this duel and say, this is why edge stall calls are a problem. Because in 190, 133, 197, 285, there was a multitude of you're going out of bounds, and one guy should have been banged under the way the rules have been called all year, but they didn't call anything.
No. I didn't understand that. Now, but actually, the worst call of all was the Dayton 2 that wasn't. I mean, it is like I literally went back and watched because I remember a couple matches where I just saw double leg, guy on the hip, head outside, it's 2. It doesn't matter if the guy's draped or like locked around a leg or something or has a foot, it's 2. You got both legs, it's 2. We've seen it called like this. And I went back and watched the Gefeller Thompson match. This is exactly how he finished. Same thing. They threw up 2. That's a takedown. That is a wrestling takedown, and you have to call it. You can't not call it, and it also raises the issue of the review problem of guys reviewing their own calls. Okay? If you have bad judgment, your judgment will not improve. And sometimes it'll help, and we've seen officials change their calls, but that was a takedown for Dayton Fix, period. There's no
takedown.
I mean, I don't even know what else there is to say. Everyone else is like, this is a takedown, this is a takedown, this is a takedown. Coaches, D1 coaches say that's a takedown. I don't know what's happening. But they're not calling the takedown, so I don't know how you fix that one because everyone, for the love of the Lord, please know the takedown rules. But but the match itself, I got to say, DeSanto lost, but I was impressed. He had Dayton uncomfortable on his feet. I've never seen him moved around like that. I've never seen it. And another thing I would have liked to see, and Bracky and I talked about this most of the way back, is how does that match end if if DeSanto goes neutral, right? We don't know if his pace would have been a thing or not. We just don't know yet because if you get ridden out the third period, that's the way it goes. But I think it's entirely possible that it could have had an impact there.
Yeah. I mean, do you think DeSanto goes neutral next time? I do.
I think he'd consider it. Yeah, I think he would. I mean, he struggled with double leg riders before. This is not new, right? And he was close to the reversal at the end, which would have been so crazy because if he finishes that, we're going to sudden victory. But he wasn't able to, and it was. To me, it's like, man, DeSanto's right there, but at the same time, I can't unsee the takedown, right? I can't unsee that. Right. He took him down.
So what was the takedown with? Because Dayton, early in the first, Austin DeSanto's coming. Dayton's about on the edge, and Dayton like boots, scoots, or shrugs or something. He did one of those things we were like. He did one of those things that control. We were like, that's how Dayton's going to score if Austin goes forward. But I don't think that resurfaced again. I don't think that situation resurfaced the rest of the match. What was the almost takedown with?
He just, I think it was a high crotch. He just posted, or it may have been a knee pull. I'm not sure, but he ended up head outside and just doubled off and set him right on his hip. But it was a straight leg attack. It was nice. Post high crotch, says Adam Fellers, which grain of salt there. I'm pretty sure it was a post high crotch.
Fellers, you're suspect.
We got backup Micah Copeland. I'll trust Micah Copeland. He said scored with a high crotch. So, yeah, that's how he got it done. Should have been 2. I want to see those guys wrestle again. And how about John Smith after the duel saying 133, the deepest weight he's ever seen in his career? And he's seen some stuff. He's the
He
GOAT.
saw some wrestling.
He's seen some wrestling in his day, and he says it's the best. I think it's the best.
Yeah, no takedown. Dayton wins.
Does it change your tiers for title contenders at 33, seeing DeSanto compete like that?
No.
Same.
I think that Austin can. I'm not going to pick him to do it. If Austin DeSanto makes the finals, mildly, it's not shocking to me. But I'm not going to pick him to do it.
Yeah, I'm there with you, buddy. So, on the whole, this was a kind of a rout a little bit for the Cowboys. They looked really, really good, and we're going to 141 for like 6 minutes. I was like, Cade, that's the one, that's the big old problem, and he's still just not quite finishing the matches in inspirational ways. He kind of gave up the takedown at the end there. Almost got turned. Murin almost turned him. It was like, oh, well, I mean, Bader was like kind of signing off the match at the time, and then I think it was like a claw tilt. He almost had it. So Cade still
almost had a
address.
couple late.
And
DeSanto almost forced overtime. Murin almost turned him.
Yeah. And that was one thing that was interesting about the duel. Is like, if they were just – Iowa was in a lot of these matches, and if they had been able to get late takedowns, they'd have been right there to win or send some matches in overtime. They just couldn't get the takedowns they needed when they needed them.
Well, I mean, I thought it was very uncharacteristic of Iowa. An Iowa big-time duel. When you think of Iowa in a big-time duel, and when you were making your picks, Christian, last week before the duel, you kind of sort of alluded to it. You were like, should I take this guy in this toss-up, or should what you were alluding to is that in big-time matches, in toss-up bouts, or even when Iowa traditionally is a little bit of an underdog, in big-time duels, Iowa will steal one or two. And that didn't happen in this duel.
Well, they didn't
steal any of the toss-ups.
Well, hold on. They want Lugo beat G.
Okay.
I mean, that's 11 versus 6. I mean, look at that entire season. Look at their entire seasons. That should not. They got that one. That has to be acknowledged.
They got one.
All right, it's more than zero.
Okay, I picked Lugo. I wasn't even surprised by that. I mean, they got beat 7-3. They didn't. You can say they stole one. I mean,
I say the same for Oklahoma State.
They were close late, right? They were in a lot of close matches late and didn't get the score they needed to get. They only had a takedown in 4 of the 10 bouts. I just thought it was uncharacteristic. However,
I completely disagree. I don't think it was uncharacteristic. They both had an upset win. Oklahoma State had an upset at 25. Iowa had an upset at 49, and everything else went chalk. Dayton was supposed to win. Cade was supposed to win. 57. Caleb Young was supposed to win. Bull, Chandler over the dealership, and we're talking about the dealership. Jacoby over Wilkie, Weigel over Warner, and White over. That's what's supposed to happen. That was supposed to. Now you could say in the deed, that's one of your favorite words. It didn't look great, but the match results, the guys who got their hand raised are who we expected to get their hand raised. Period. They matched up bad. They matched up bad against the Cowboys, Willie. Bad matchup.
I know. Listen, go match by match. Not surprising. It's not surprising that Wilkie loses. It's not surprising that Warner loses. I'm saying in the past, traditionally, Iowa always wins one they're not supposed to. Iowa always steals one late. I mean, okay.
That's what I'm saying they did.
Are you going to hang on this Lugo thing?
You're saying one. I'm saying they got one. I don't understand. You keep saying they get one. They got one.
Do you mean to say two?
Do you mean to say two? If you mean two.
Yes, or more. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, if Lugo, I don't know why. You think that Lugo over Caden is like this earth-shattering thing.
He lost to Russell Rolfing and Cole Martin. Or, not Cole Martin. He has bad losses this year, Willie.
Deegan.
Mm-hmm.
It was at least a toss-up. If nothing else, it was a toss-up.
Yeah. Okay. More. Traditionally Iowa does more.
Mm-hmm. More than one upset of duel. I mean, I don't know. Go back and look through some box scores. I think you'll be educated. I don't think that's what normally happens. Yeah. I mean, they
didn't score a takedown the last 4 matches.
No, right. I know that. I was there.
But
to your point, like, that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, whether or not they did, I mean, I don't know. I picked the back 4 to win for Oklahoma State. I assume you guys did for the most part too.
I picked Warner, but that was an acknowledged.
But you weren't shocked that Wagga won. Yeah.
No, I mean, on paper, I acknowledge it's a bad matchup for Warner. I just kind of thought maybe this is the one they get because I did not pick Lugo to win because I thought G had been better all year, which is true. I thought, okay, I don't think that's the upset. I think it could be here. It was at 49, not 987. But based on my perception coming in the match, it went how it went. And I think there's a lot of overreaction going on. I mean, Hawkeye Report, I mean, they overreact to everything, right? So they're obviously overreacting to this. But hold on. But I want to give some perspective here, okay? Because I think it's easy to get hung up on a result and make it a bigger thing. Do you guys remember? I'm going to take you back. 2018, East Lansing, Michigan. Do you remember the Big Ten tournament the Hawkeyes had? They had one finalist who lost, Brandon Sorensen. They were 4th at Big Tens. They were terrible. They had a horrible performance. Horrible. 2 weeks later, they're number 3. They had in the country, in the whole thing, right? They put it together. They had a champion. So I think we've seen this. They had more bonus points than Penn State. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've seen Iowa. They're not always up. It's not the same thing where they're good in November and then they're coming down. Horrible performance at Big Tens. Then back up at NCAAs. Great performance. So I think the Hawkeye fans themselves are not. Their memories are off.
And I mean, they lost a duel.
They lost a duel.
They lost a duel that on paper they were supposed to lose.
And they lost the matches they were supposed to lose, except for one. And like I said, the upsets were a wash. They both had an upset. So
yeah, I don't understand the surprise. Like, what was your expectation there? They matched. Oklahoma State matched up well with them. And Oklahoma State's pretty darn good. You lost a duel to a really good team. It happens.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing I've been kind of saying about Oklahoma State, and we should get to Oklahoma State as a whole as a team, if there's a team that can beat Penn State, and there's probably not, but if there is, if you have to say you have to pick one that does it, it's this team. They have the most good wrestlers, period. And when they get their lineup optimized, which is going to happen by Big 12s, which is another scary thing, which we'll talk about, they can do it. But they have a lot of good guys. And one of my questions is this. How do you beat Penn State? Well, it's pretty intuitive. You need a lot of finalists, right? You need guys to win national championships. And that was kind of the knock on Oklahoma State. When 2 years ago, when they had 8 All-Americans and a champ, they weren't placing high enough, right? Well, what if they win the first 2 weight classes? You can't rule out that as a possibility. What if Joe Smith is the truth at 165? Now, we're talking about Vincenzo Joseph. That's a 2-time champ. I'm not picking him to beat Chenzo. I'm just saying Joe Smith is a big-time problem at 165 pounds. If
Weigel could make a final?
Weigel could make finals at a weak 197. Now, Colin Moore is pretty dang good, and Bo Nickel just need to be opposite him because no one's beating that guy. But man, they've got to look at it. Derek could make the finals. He's the clear number 2 in the country. He beat Kassar. He's looked excellent. He just beat Stoll. That's a clear number 2. So now we're looking at 4. You know, it's not unreasonable that they would get 4 or 5 in the finals. Now at the end of the day, it's Cale Sanderson. It's Penn State. It's tough to say. But this is the team that can do it, right? This is the team that has the chance to do it. All right.
The 8 All-Americans thing. I mean, I was talking to coaches this weekend. It's like to think about how, because right, you said it's very intuitive how you beat Penn State, but to think about just how they've changed, like the perspective of how you look at the NCAA tournament. You have 8 All-Americans, it's a wrap.
8 All-Americans and a champ.
10 years ago, whatever, however long ago you want to say, 8 All-Americans, it's You're done on Friday. They got third that year. Not even second.
What?
They got third.
Daggone it. They did get third. That's bullcrap. They should get second.
Like, you get 8 All-Americans.
Hey.
That's bullcrap.
That's bull. John should they should change it. No, that's crazy.
Hey, I want to talk about the Warner Weigel match.
That was the weirdest match. We need to run that on the site here. Thank you for reminding me.
I mean, on one hand, you could say that Warner was really close. On the other hand, he didn't score a point. It was all penalty points. So I don't know. And then the decision to to ride and not cut him in a third. I think there's a lot to talk about there.
Well, that's how I left. That's why if you watch the duel and listen to my commentary, I was like, I just left with this impression: Jacob Warner can definitely win this match moving forward, because I thought there were some takedowns that he kind of left out there. He showed he could get to his legs. He had a really nice single leg on the edge. I was like, okay, he can get to Weigel's legs. I thought it was foolish to go under, right? Even though he did manage to get some points via locked hands and penalty points, stalling points. But then with riding time locked up at 3 minutes and 10 seconds going into the second, there is, unless you're saying you're saying a couple things when you take top or when you cover Weigel there. You're saying I'm riding out for sudden victory, or I think I can turn him. And I just don't know why he would think that would be the best option. I think you've got a guy that's wrestled 4 matches on the year. You are the Iowa wrestler with a great gas tank. Go on your feet. Let him up. And it's the silly thing you always hear, 1 not 2. But you're not getting reversed if you let the guy up. You had a chance to get a takedown and to make that. Then you can ride. That's when you go for the ride.
The only reason that I think there was a possible reason to ride is that he had 2 stalls, he had 2 cautions, and so maybe you ride for a few seconds, or maybe you ride for 1 restart and see if you can get a stall or a caution. But if that's not going to happen, then cut him.
He rode for a while. I mean, he might have had 30, 40 seconds. And there was a point in time where Weigel had his head on the mat for maybe 4 seconds, right? And then, he came. I mean, it's a savvy senior guy. This guy's an All-American. This guy's really, really good, and he's really good on the mat. And I just think – so that's why I'm like, man, if I'm Warner, I'm like, man, I made a mistake here. I made a mistake here. I made a mistake here. Tactically, if I make some adjustments, I can beat that guy, right? I think you leave. If you're the Iowa staff, I'm pumping up Jacob Warner. I'm like, man, you can beat this guy. A couple of different things. It's probably good in the regular season to test yourself from underneath. I think after what happened with him against Tanner Sloan, just to show, hey, I cannot get turned by a tilt guy here. I'm better on bottom than I represented myself at the Midland, so I'm going to go under here. And maybe it doesn't make sense in a February duel, but in March, maybe you're making a different decision there.
Isn't it slightly concerning, though, because when you look at where Warner, since Warner has gotten to college, or maybe even a little before, but since where Warner potentially has struggles, it's more in tournament settings, right? His 2 Midlands were probably disappointing to what our expectations were of him. And so the fact that he loses in the duel where he is usually better, I feel that kind of goes more Weigel's way in the tournament, like maybe bigger margin or less in the balance.
Maybe. I don't know. I think
I just given like
I'm not ready to marginalize Warner as having bad tournaments or whatever. I just think, he's a freshman. He's still a freshman, and things like that happen.
What did you think of now I think Weigel needs to get in 7-minute shape, I think. That's the takeaway from Weigel. The takeaway. What did you think about that almost takedown? He grabs for Warner.
Oh, where he had the foot for a moment.
He had the foot for a moment.
It was actually reminiscent. It was so funny that we talked about the St. John Daringer takedown, because it was very similar to that, because Daringer had the sweep, and then there was a period of time where he maybe had the other foot covered, but St. John kicked away, and they didn't give the 2 there. It was pretty similar to that, where it definitely seemed like Warner had both ankles controlled on the edge there. Maybe not controlled is maybe not a good word, but in his possession, to use a
that's the iffy thing for me. Is it was like there was a time where he touched both of them, but I don't know if he controlled them. I don't know.
Right. That's what's really tough. And I don't think Iowa had a challenge at that point, but it would have been interesting to. I mean, the guy's probably not changing his call. There's a double leg takedown right in front of him, and he said that wasn't two. So there's no way he's overturning that. But I think in general, there's a chance that's maybe a takedown with a different official. That's why I'm like, man, you get the takedown there. Maybe you don't go under it. Maybe you don't ride him as much. There's like 3-4 different decisions that really can change things, right? And that's why I think great performance by Jacob Warner, but Weigel's a finalist contender, right? So there's that match, and I think it's funny how much weight Oklahoma State gave up in this duel. You know, Jacoby Smith, what he weigh in at, like 78 or something like that. He's giving up 6 pounds, looking like a monster. Chandler Rogers weighed in at like 68.7. This pin slays Steve Bowman, who was an 84-pounder to start the year. I mean, I thought that was an interesting wrinkle. And now, so a lot of people are like, where's Joe Smith? Was Joe Smith sick? Someone actually asked about that. Joe Smith was sick. He was not really available. He did weigh in, but he was too sick to wrestle. So he didn't wrestle.
So the Cowboys are going down. The Cowboy Slim Fast, they call it. What do they call it, Nomad? Give it a...
No, that's it. Cowboy Slim Fast. Why are you trying to top a dub, man?
You nailed it.
A win's a win, Willie.
Well, all right. So the thing, I mean, I like Joe. I love Joe at 65. Much more than I like him at 74. However, I like Jacoby at 84 more than I like him at 74.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, Willie. I think
I would keep Jacoby at 84, bro.
Look at the construction of 84. Just look at it. That's not a good weight. I mean, you've got Miles Martin, and there's nobody there that no one even wants to be ranked number 2 there. No one wants it. No one wants to be 2 or 3. They just lose to Wilkie, lose to this guy, lose to that guy. I think listen, he can't beat Taylor Vince. He can't beat Zavatsky. He can't beat Renan. Come on.
And he has beaten a lot of guys.
Right. He's beaten a lot of them. He beat Foster. He beat Bonacorsi. He beat
Price.
Yeah.
So, right. So he could be.
Wait, no,
he could be a really high.
Was that when Price wrestled?
No, he lost to Price.
He lost to Price. Okay. I'm sorry. I got my
Price is number 2.
In any case, Jacoby's got good wins.
I don't know, though. I mean, at 74, like we say, there's a lot of. Who can beat him at 74?
Daniel Lewis has.
Daniel Lewis.
And Mark Hall. There's 3. I mean, I just think those 3, I just don't see. Jacoby Smith has not beaten any of those guys.
Miles Amin,
I'm taking Miles in that one. Yeah. I just think he places higher at 84. And then the kind of crazy thing is, Chandler Rogers probably on the outside looking in.
What are they gonna,
I mean, that's a true wrestle-off?
Yeah, sounds like there's going to be a wrestle-off or some sort of process to determine who goes.
John Smith said to ask him in 7 days.
7 days?
Yes.
All right. From the 24th?
Yes. Well, it was funny. Someone asked him what the postseason lineup would look like. He said, ask me in 7 days. Then Bader asked how he would go about determining it. He said, ask him in 7 days. But then 30 seconds later said Jacoby would be 174 for the postseason.
So that's determined.
That is determined.
And which means Gear has to be the 84.
Correct. Which means 65 is the only one up in the air.
Yes.
So regarding that,
we'll find out in 7 days.
Right.
I was given conflicting information yesterday.
Love it.
About the coaches ranking, right? So the allocations are coming out on Thursday. You have to put in the guys who are theoretically – every coach has to designate their starters, right? So theoretically, that's the guys that you're going to use in the postseason. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying Oklahoma State's lying, but, like, if you don't use those guys that are in the coaches ranking and you earn a spot, but you put in someone else who doesn't get it, that spot's taken away, right? So, like, if they say –
Are you saying no takebacks?
Yeah. So, like, if they say Chandler Rogers is the guy at 65, which is not what I was told, but then was told conflicting information, and then they don't wrestle him and they wrestle Joe Smith, whatever, if the Big 12 has 4 slots at 165, they then lose it and it goes to 3. It's based on who actually competes at the conference tournament.
Especially because Joe has no data at 65.
Literally none.
Literally none.
Like if they had Chandler with his record at 65 and if Joe was like 18-2 or 3, he would still maybe get a slot, right? But he doesn't even have any.
No.
Right. So someone theoretically is going to lose a spot at 65 in the Big 12.
So how many do you think the Big 12 is going to get at 65? Because that's going to be interesting. Because I think at 65 I'd probably pick Joe to win Big 12s, but as this is the ultimate risk of throwing Joe Smith at a weight that he has no data for, is if one misstep and he doesn't qualify a weight that Chandler Rogers surely would qualify if he went 0-2 at Big 12s. Chandler Rogers would go to NCAAs. So it's a calculated risk that the Cowboys are taking, and I'm with you that I think that Jacoby may be better at 84, but I think they want gear in at 84. The real shame of it is like 57, and I like Wyatt Sheets, but I think he's got a little ways to go yet. But Chandler's certified at 57. He just can't make it. Can you imagine if they could get Chandler down there at 57?
Oh my God. If Chandler could get to 57, that'd be awesome.
I know, but he can't. So it's too bad. But how about the way he got to go out? I mean, hits his signature move. Crowd is going bananas. He's got great post-match celebration.
Hey, I'm glad they let Chandler finish the OSU and do finger guns, Pistol Pete, but they didn't let Pitch do it. Like, if a guy's just let him finish. Like if DeSanto had upset and he wanted to do the flap, like, I would have been perfectly. Just let him finish. Just let him finish.
You think DeSanto would flap?
I don't know. I was trying to think of something that like an Iowa guy would have done if they had.
I don't think DeSanto's a flapper.
Well, he kind of did this after he beat Lezak.
Oh, this one. Not. Yeah. I'm thinking the Alan Waters.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. Like, just let him finish. Just let him finish the OSU or the Hawkeye, whatever they want to do.
Remember when Alan Waters acted like that wasn't about the Hawkeyes? He tried to say it's from some football thing. Yeah. He's like, that's actually about our touch football league that we are in.
It's called a ball hawk.
We're the ball hawks. No, nothing. You know what? Now that you mention it, our Hawkeyes birds. Hadn't even considered that.
Oh, now that you mention it, yeah, they're the Hawkeyes.
They are birds, and I've only ever done it this match against an Iowa guy. Yeah, unrelated.
Totes unrelated.
Man.
Our pets' heads were falling off elsewhere.
Explain. Where are our pets' heads, Willie? That should be a new segment. Where are our pets' heads?
Can I real quick?
Where are our pets' heads?
Hold on. Nomad. I'm sorry, Willie. Nomad.
I'm sorry. Just you asked about 165. As of now, they should get 5.
Oh, okay.
But it's going to be dropped to 4. Big 12 165 slots.
4.
If Joe goes and not Chandler.
All right.
Proceed. Sorry to interrupt.
That's a good interruption. Hey, Willie.
Matt Kolodzik lost to Parker Kropman.
Once a year, he's got to lose to someone completely bizarre. I never learn even their names. Who's the brown kid, Bradkey?
Kraus.
Zach Kraus.
Zach Kraus. Zach Kraus beat him. Now, I feel like that was late in the year, too. Was it not? It was late-ish.
I don't remember.
Certainly not when I expected it. And he loses to Parker
One takedown match. I think it was 3-1. Parker Kropman, I knew him in high school. Like, I think he was fringe rankable.
We know you know him.
And then I didn't even know he wrestled for Drexel, to be honest. But you know what? He also beat Ryan Blees this year.
Drexel on the come up. But yeah, that was definitely the most surprising result of the millennia, maybe. Did not see that coming with Kolodzik, though maybe, I guess any of our guys, it could happen. So, yeah, I don't know what to make of it other than, Anthony Ashnall's the clear number 1 guy. And he still is, and yeah, Matt Kolodzik, he lost. So I don't know if there's a take.
I really regret. Here. You know what my season-long regret is that I should have started in the beginning of the season.
What's that?
Rico Stormer updates. Rico Stormer is a wrestler for Stanford, and it's a ridiculous name. I love it. It's beautiful, and every FRL episode in the doc, I have Rico Stormer's results, but we never say it. And I just wish that in the beginning of the year I started Rico Stormer updates every episode.
Well, it's
Storm
never
report.
it's never too late. Storm report. All right, yeah. Well, maybe next year you can find someone that you really like, and we can go with that. So yeah, that's good. Any other heads? We got to talk about McKenna, Yanni.
Yeah, there was a couple other heads. Rayvon Foley lost to Drew Hildebrandt.
That was something.
That's gonna
hurt him.
Potentially hurt him. Now they split.
Now if he wins Big Tens,
yeah, that'll help.
That'll help his seed. Yeah. Okay. So those are all the heads. That's not that bad.
Yeah. Deegan Techfald.
No. Ernesty Techfald Gomez.
Techfald Austin Gomez.
That is a head removal situation.
Did you watch that match?
No.
That was one of the freaking goofiest matches I've ever seen.
It was a total
It sort of
junk
made
fest.
sense.
What happened, Brett?
It sort of made sense.
Ernesty got a takedown, classic Spladle, 6-0. And then I don't even remember. Gomez ended up on his back again in the second period. And then in the third period,
Gomez got a couple takedowns.
Yeah, Gomez got a reversal, takedown, and then there was some kind of exchange. He ends up on his back again, gives up another 6-point move, and then he was down like 16-6 and tried to submit Mixer, and Ernesty caught him on his back to get the tech.
What was surprising
was a junk fest.
What's surprising is that I thought the one time I thought he was gonna go his back, he didn't. Was when Ernesty had the Merkel in, and I thought Ernesty was gonna finish there. It's like John Ernesty being whatever.
Ernesty hit 3 6-pointers.
Yeah, for being whatever he is, like 8 or 9 in the country, he can look so outmatched on his feet sometimes by those other guys. Like just like a pure visual eye test, he when he gets taken down, it looks like he is not a top 8 or 9 guy. But he has all of these tricks and is so long and can just spladle anyone and will put guys like he must be also kind of surprisingly strong for as not good as he looks on his feet, like relatively speaking, because he was just holding Gomez with one arm in a headlock for like 12 seconds.
He's just got that wiry strength. You can tell he's very strong. He is a junker, but we love junkers here on FRL. And I feel like Gomez is the one guy in the country who could. You should not be allowed to tech fall Austin Gomez because he could be down 15. I think they should give him an opportunity to wrestle back.
True.
Give him a chance because that guy, between all his upper body stuff and the fact that he'll just go take down and release. Now I don't know if he could do that against Ernesty. I'm just not ruling it out that Gomez could have come back there, but he got tech falled, and that's how it goes. Those are the rules.
And as weird as this is gonna sound, like. Gomez could win the match next time out. I don't know. I'm not anti-Ernesty. Just sometimes when you watch him, you don't understand how he wins the way that he does.
But then he throws in a near like spladle.
Yeah, he's just so unconventional. That's like, all right. So yeah, that guy, that John Ernesty's a bad draw at NCAA's. Like whatever he's seeded, that he's bad draw.
Oh, Gomez went for the turn.
Gomez was
for
down.
a turn.
He forced a tilt. And Ernesty just fell into a headlock.
Yes, that's exactly what
And
happened.
then the last one was a mixer. Not as bad as Zeke Boise's one where he didn't touch the guy.
The no-touch mixer was interesting. That's a rare one when you're not touching the guy and you just start spinning around.
Yeah, Gomez was touching Ernesty when he attempted this.
Zeke, how can you be from the 610 and you're doing mixers like that, dog? You got to rep. And then Deegan beats Mahler.
Again.
Mahler scored the first 2 takedowns. He was leading 4-1, and Deegan scored 10 unanswered.
Department of Agriculture update. Apologies. You should be down to 2 farms now. You had 4 farms, if you've listened to me. But then you bet more farms on Lugo G, and then G didn't come through. He lost, so I didn't come through. So now you only have 2 farms. So this week's a big week because you could be down to 0 farms. But I don't even know if there's anything.
Wait, who was your picks? Caden and who?
Just G.
Oh.
And I said that I liked DeSanto at plus 2.5 a lot, but that was not my farm bet. Had it been my farm bet, you'd have the farm.
Oh yeah.
I messed that up. But then I find out at Oklahoma State that G's like he's battling some injuries, so that's not ideal. But the farm bet was already out there, so I wasn't going to back down.
I told that to you the other day. Anyway.
You did?
Yeah.
How'd you know? Don't tell me. I don't remember you saying that. He was hurt.
Did.
Daggone it.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yianni-McKenna?
Okay.
Yianni-McKenna. Sorry. These two wrestled on, you may not have known. I hope someone texted Craig Sesker and let him know that those two wrestled. I actually knew they were wrestling.
Somebody text Sesker right now. Somebody text Sesker and tell him that Yianni-McKenna happened.
Yeah, let him know. He'll be furious to find out it was on ESPN Plus. Actually, I'm not trying to throw shade at ESPN Plus, but I am a subscriber. Could not make it work on my phone, and I had good internet. It was very annoying, but it normally works great on my computer. But I couldn't watch it. I was highly annoyed, so I had to call Willie. Willie called me immediately after it happened, so I'm curious for your thoughts on the match, William.
Yanni got to an attack right away, takedown. I thought that both guys looked pretty good. I mean, Joey got in on a couple clean shots. He just couldn't finish. The one was a ridiculous counter. Yanni's in the splits. McKenna's standing single. Yanni picks the ankle. Oddly enough, the score was 6-5 at the end of 2, but it felt like Yanni was killing it.
Mainly because it was 3 takedowns to none.
Correct.
3 takedowns to none. It was 3 takedowns to 1 reversal, and the score is 6-5, and it just felt like Yanni was just like killing him, but it was 6-5. And then Yanni gets out and wins 7-5.
To me, there's a lot of evidence that I'm an idiot. But is this the cherry on top of the idiot sundae? The fact that I went McKenna for the title? I think I've said dumber things. Definitely not.
Joey McKenna winning a title is not at all outlandish of a take.
Against Yanni, the man did it with no knee.
Sure.
He had one knee.
It was pretty dumb.
It was pretty dumb. And you know what?
I don't know,
hold on.
dude. In the middle of the season, he looked great.
You know what? But
Joey looked great.
It's Yanni.
That's it. That's why I'm an idiot. It's Yanni. We're talking about Yanni D. But you know what? Also, shame on you all. I was not admonished nearly as much as I should have been. I think Bracky did maybe slightly, but none of you other guys did. You're supposed to I want to help you guys when you say dumb stuff, and I want to call you out. And shame on you guys for not properly scolding me for that take. So I'm back. Listen, I got a smack in the face, okay? And now, there we go. A smack on the hand from Nomad, and now I'm back to reality. Yanni's going to win 141. I'm sorry.
It certainly, the takeaway for me after that is, number one, kind of a bad matchup for Joey, because Yanni went gyroscope, right? And I don't know how McKenna finishes.
It's a great reference, Willie. I see you turn your head.
What is a gyroscope?
Gyro, that was what they were said about Kellen Russell, like the freaky feel and ways you can counter and never, you can't plan them.
Yanni looks comfortable in positions that 3 other people in the world look comfortable in.
Well, that's why I don't think you can say it's a bad matchup. I think you can just say Yanni's a freak.
That too, but I feel like actually that McKenna is the best matchup for him because McKenna is a good McKenna's attacks. I won't say McKenna's a really good finisher. I say McKenna's attacks lend itself to quick finishes, right? But
McKenna's more positionally sound than anyone else.
Yes, that is true.
But the at least the way he was attacking on Friday, he's not going to finish on Yanni.
No. You know what my I don't even know. Literally, my brain just.
I don't know. He had a standing single. And Yanni picked his ankle. I mean, he could finish that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I know what I was gonna say. You know when I really felt dumb? It was actually before this match. When I was listening to Bader's interviews with Yanni, I was like, this guy has the best mindset there is. It just all makes sense, and I don't know. He just has that it factor.
And again, it's not that Joey's bad at finishing. It's not that Joey has bad mindset. It's not that.
No.
It's just Yanni is at a different level right now. And again, if Joey wins, no one should be completely and utterly shocked.
Yeah.
But the way they wrestled, and the other thing about the way they wrestled, because to your point about us not admonishing you, there was a point in the year, especially after the Lehigh match, where I was like, Yanni's not going to be healthy for NCAAs.
Right.
And
Dude,
now I think Yanni's healthy.
The best part of it for me was he went out there and fearless. I'll score, Joey's in on attacks. Here's this situation where they make there's a lot of build up all week long. Then they make it the last match of the duel, and Yanni just goes out there and opens right up. I mean, I love that.
Yeah. Same
thing at National Preps. I don't know. National Preps, they make Bartlett and Van Ness. The last match of the duel, those guys put up 30. They were just taking each other down left and right. I mean, that's fun stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they definitely we were watching that in the sauna in Stillwater, Willie. It's just not a steam room.
Last thing about Yianni-McKenna. So Yanni clearly number one, like it's not even
right.
But number two is kind of going to be an issue with Albert beating Ironman, and Lord knows what's going to happen in 141 at Big Tens.
I think Big Ten winner should be the 2 seed, unless it's Max
Albert
Murin.
beating Ironman?
Even though, yeah, Josh Albert beat
Jaden Ironman.
Didn't Ironman just pin him this weekend? No? Nope. That was Iowa State. Who did he pinned Parker.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Which also, that was 5-5 at the time he pinned him.
Yeah. I think if Joey wins Big Tens, he's a 2 seed. It's still it's going to be McKenna or Lee that win Big Tens, right? And I think whoever wins that should be the rightful 2 seed because McKenna's beaten Ironman. Go. Or do you think Albert should be the 2? Albert lost to Moran.
Albert's got he's got like 4 or 5 losses. So I have a hard time putting Albert at the 2. I think it's Ironman, or if McKenna wins Big Tens, he should probably be the 2.
Who's going to be the 1 seed? Like next Thursday. Thursday's show should be a lot about seeding, I think. Anyway,
well, it will be.
Who's going to be the 1 seed at 141 Big Ten?
Probably Nick Lee.
No. Can I talk about this real quick? Because Penn State fans' brains broke when I put out the seeding. Okay, so let's backtrack. I put out an article suggesting that missed duels should be something that the Big Ten coaches discuss. Okay, and that was summarily shot down. Fine, whatever. If that is the case, because Penn State fans were like, how could, again, and then I put out another article yesterday that was my predictions, not my opinion of how I'd like to see them go, but my predictions of how the coaches will actually do it. And everyone's like, how can you possibly have Mikey Carr 1 and Nick Lee 2, but have Chenzo below Marinelli? They're totally different situations. They could not be more different situations. Nick Lee has a loss in conference to Tristan Moran. Mikey Carr has 0 losses. I understand that Mikey Carr didn't wrestle against Nick Lee, and I understand that Joe McKenna didn't wrestle against Mikey Carr. But if the Big Ten coaches put Nick Lee 1 over Mikey Carr, then they also have to put Chenzo 3 to be consistent, and they're not going to do that.
I think you're giving them a lot of credit there.
I don't really know, but I think we should save that for next Thursday. I mean, for Thursday, because we're gonna have we should have a lot of time to talk about seeding at some point.
Thankfully, okay. A few results that should be discussed. Zavatsky beat Renan. Fine Silver beat Austin O'Connor. Labriola beat Rico Stormer. Those are the 3 big ones. Those are the 3 big ones that we did not get a chance to discuss. So yeah, we need to mention that. The questions from friends, I'll be honest, and I won't blame you guys, but basically all your questions were related to our existence and like the fact that we had this duel and like you basically defending us and like, is Willie going to give a lesson on capitalism? So your questions were very pro us, and I appreciate that. But the issue was there weren't a lot of actual wrestling related questions, but we had some. And we'll start with this one from Dan Nerdall. Don't laugh.
Come on.
What?
Is that? Okay.
It's not making fun of you, actually. If you're a Nick Pitch, are you never wearing a knee pad again? Because that was funny. It like fell off. He tossed it off and pinned him. I don't know. But the best part of that was when Terry Brands threw it from one side of the mat all the way to the other. He didn't want that knee pad. No, I think you don't ever wear a knee pad again. You incinerate it. Pat Mineo said he would give me $50 if you brought his name up on FRL. I could use the extra money. Could you help me out? So, yeah, we said his name. So now Pat Mineo has to give you $50.
Do we all have to say it? Should we all just say it once?
We should all get a cut of that as well.
We should get a cut. Split it. You know what? There's.
I don't want a cut, and I ain't saying it.
Well, but no,
he has to give.
If you don't
away
like
his
him,
money,
he has to give away his money. You're costing him money.
Yeah.
I refuse to say his name.
All right. Well, I said it, so.
Pat Mineo. There's another $50.
Boom. Yeah. 50. That's 150.
Boom.
This one. 40% of Twitter are people with avatars of Willie's picture with the turtleneck sweater. I ran the numbers because there's another one from CP Roy and Steve-O's friend at Not Willie's friend. Hypothetical matchups.
The whole thing strung together is great.
Old champs versus current. College version of each. Who you got? First one is easy. Actually, they might all be easy. Mark Hall versus Askren. Man. Speaking of, the only reason I bring this up, Askren film dropping this week. We're thinking Friday. We're thinking live only. We're thinking you better get ready. Ben Askren, The Funk. I watched a cut of it. As you will not be disappointed.
When you say live only, you mean like how we released My Best Rival?
Like how we released My Best Rival. So Friday, you're only going to be able to watch it live. Maybe we'll do a matinee showing and then an evening one. So.
But then Saturday they can.
And then Saturday you can watch it. Maybe we'll make you wait. I don't know. Just kidding. We'll probably put it up Saturday.
Get her the $2 movies.
But yeah, Askren will beat Mark Hall, right?
I'm not subscribing to this because last time we did this, Mark Hall got incensed that we said Chris Pendleton would beat him. We said senior year Chris Pendleton would beat freshman year Mark Hall, and Mark got summarily pissed.
What are we supposed to do?
Summarily.
Let him be mad. I mean, I don't know what to do. Everyone's mad. People are perpetually mad at us. No, mad. That basically you're just saying cancel the show. People are only ever mad.
Fair.
Null first ringer. Ringer's too big.
Well, 57 ringer.
57 ringer. Okay. Nolf.
Yeah. I think that was the point of that.
Okay. Nolf, comma, next topic. But college version of each. I mean, I don't know. The best version. We're talking about the. All right. So let's say like freshman, sophomore Nolf versus freshman, sophomore ringer. Yeah, I'll take Nolf. Yanni versus Jaggers. This should happen.
Yanni.
Come on, Jay. Can you dust him off one last time for the boys? He left some wins out there. McD versus Spencer. McDonough. I got McDonough. I mean, listen.
Last year's Spencer.
Last year Spencer lost to Ronnie Bresser and Nathan Tomasello.
I'll take McDonough.
McDonough's highly underrated.
What was McDonough's?
Yeah. The
one time McDonough got beat pretty bad. How do you get beat?
Are you talking about Anthony Robles' tilt game?
Well, what is Spencer Lee's best turn?
Anthony Robles.
No, Matt, shut your face.
Anthony Robles' tilt game tech falls Spencer Lee's tilt game.
Oh wow.
He just teched it. That tilt teched another tilt.
Okay.
He was. There's another level.
God, he was so freaking good.
He's amazing. That's why that's why when we did our best 125 last 10 years, I think most of us, maybe not most of us, I picked Robles. I think he beats all these guys, and I think he'd beat the 125 champ this year.
Once Robles figured it out, game over.
It was over.
I mean, I don't know. Did I pick Robles? Because I don't feel like that's.
You probably picked. You probably picked Escobedo or something.
I mean, let's not forget that McDonough won a bracket with Robles in it.
Yeah, I know.
But again,
that's the McDonough I took. I remember we all yelled at each other about it.
Oh yeah, it was a good yell sesh.
Well, but it was like when we did 49. It was like best version, Caldwell best version, Metcalf best version. Well, theoretically, we saw that.
Yes.
Right.
No, we did.
So,
Varner versus Nickel. This is freaking juicy because Jake Varner was so dang big.
He was a gorilla.
How do you score on this? And he kind of dominated a bunch of. It was like just a bunch of gorillas, and he was like the main gorilla.
Yeah, the chief gorilla.
Chief gorilla. We'll call him Chief Gorilla, right? The vanilla gorilla.
I ain't taking nobody against Nickel.
Even Kale.
taking nickel.
Over Kale?
I'm taking Kale. I'm taking nickel over Kale.
Shut up.
Are you crazy?
I am.
You're
Taking
kidding.
nickel.
You would take nickel over Kale?
I don't know.
No.
I don't
Willie,
know.
you know people are listening right now, right? This is not just you and the boys. People are hearing you actually entertain. Kale is the GOAT. He's the best to ever do it. The greatest folk-style wrestler of all time.
The Colossus of Clout.
The Colossus of Clout. The
All right, maybe
Great
Kale.
Bambino.
Best version of oneself. If you have Kale, who is the second best ever
Okay.
at the weight?
I just, before we move on, I'm happy to move on, but I need you to say that Kale would beat Bo Nickel. Or I need you to definitively say.
Yeah.
Okay,
Kale would
because
beat
you
Bo
didn't say
Nickel.
it until I
Well,
just asked you.
Who would be the second best ever at the weight?
At 97, great question.
Jaden.
What about, no, Jaden or
Jared
Greg Jones?
Russell.
Greg Jones?
Greg
I
Jones.
think he was only.
Oh, he was
Yeah.
only 84? I thought he did.
74, 84.
Dang. Okay, West Virginia fact.
I personally feel if you put all the 97 champs since whatever, maybe 1997, whenever the weights changed, and put them in a round robin, I would assume Kale comes out on the top, and I would assume Jaden comes out second.
I'm down with that. I think international results bear that out. I mean, this guy's winning Olympic medals with NCAA eligibility.
However, Jaden Nickel, Jaden Varner, both.
Nick, we'll learn a lot about
could be interesting.
Nickel as he enters his freestyle career. Like, where is he?
Well, the problem is too that Varner won an Olympic gold,
He did.
right? But the problem is that he didn't dominate sometimes the way we wanted him to. I mean,
Yeah.
he wouldn't.
Oh.
He wouldn't do much towards the end of his career. I don't know. He would win
Towards
3-2.
the end. I mean, towards the
Yeah.
entirety.
Oh yeah, statistically, Nickel. Like if you just look at numbers. Yeah.
No,
Nickel's-
that's what I'm saying. It's like maybe it is Varner, but I don't think anybody would want to say it. I don't think he was a fan favorite, right? People wouldn't pick him because he's just not that impressive.
I think Varner would be a tough matchup for Jaden.
But Varner would probably beat those guys, right? Because he's just too positionally sound.
Yeah. Yeah, Varner could be the number 2 there. Okay, Tony Nelson versus Gable. It's a good question. I mean, he beat him in freestyle.
we haven't seen fully formed Gable yet, so I have
He's
a hard
not reached
time.
his final
Yeah, I have a
form.
hard time picking Gable now based on just what we've seen. But if you Gable in 2 or 3 years,
Yes.
Gable's like 18 years old.
No, he's a little. I think he's 19.
No,
anyways.
just real quick, let's
he's not
entertain
older
this.
than 19.
Is Gable
I
going to be
said
the
he's like 19.
Is Gable going to be the best heavyweight ever? Because Kyle Snyder exists in that weight class.
I think so. I think when we look back, I think he probably will be. I mean, Kyle Snyder lost matches as a heavyweight or match. Kyle Snyder lost match.
Kyle Snyder lost match.
He still did. Yeah, I think we'll.
He lost a ton of match.
He lost so many match. No, sorry for saying that, but he did lose. Yeah, I think probably so, just because he's gonna be bigger and maybe as credentialed. Maybe not though, because he won the Olympic. I don't know. We'll revisit that in several years.
Hopefully 2 Olympic.
Hopefully 2 Olympic at that point. All right, and Nelson versus Gable, we did that one. Okay, let's put it on wax. Brandon Kelly wants to know our 125 picks right now.
Hold on. No.
Wait.
To correct that, well, that's at some point I did choose Spencer as my champ. However, the last time we did it, I chose Rivera.
Yes, you did. So he's already changed his pick. Are you sticking with Seabass?
Yes.
Okay. Kyle Brackey, I need you.
Sebastian
I
Rivera.
know we're cut. Ooh, I didn't think you were going there.
He's been now. I'll give Kyle credit here. This is not. He's been Sebastian over Pitch all along, because when we did our fantasy draft, I actually said you're picking Rivera over Pitch. And you're like, yeah.
I was mocked for taking.
You were
Rivera.
mocked. That is correct.
And you may still should have been mocked. Because if Pitch wins this weight, I got him later. That would have been a better pick. So Joke can still be on.
On fantasy, no wonder you're taking him. I'm gonna take Pitch, dog.
This is
Pitch and Rivera have not met.
My dog
college.
looks good on his feet. He looks good on top.
They haven't met ever, even in person.
They're shaking hands.
No.
They're not even on Facebook.
Not even Facebook friends. I don't even know if they follow each other on IG.
How is it that they've never wrestled in high school? They were New York, New Jersey, 1 year apart.
Well, I don't know that they didn't.
Willie, did they ever wrestle in high school?
I don't think so.
Pitch is a little, I guess, 1 grade ahead.
Yeah, just 1 year. And they've always been around the same weight.
All right. I know Mr. Piccinini listens. He actually reminded me. He's like, came up to me after the duel. He's like, I heard your pick. I'm like, yeah.
Well, I think Sebastian was
he can clarify.
13. Sebastian was actually smaller than Pitch.
Yeah, I guess right. He was a little smaller.
So I don't know.
Anyway.
So I guess I have to pick. Huh. I'll go with Pitch.
Yeah, boy.
Pitch has looked really freaking good.
Has he had a close match this year?
On BWI Roar put out the most dominant, which should likely match what they do for the NCAA puts out. First of all, there are 4 guys at 125 in the top 20 of most dominant rank, and number one's Jack Mueller, but he hasn't wrestled a ranked wrestler. Pitch 4.417, Rivera 4.217.
So very comparably dominant. I don't know. It's going to be, man, it's crazy. 25 is a really, really fun weight. All right. Next topic.
Yeah, BWI, I like BWI, but they ticked me off today.
The airport?
No, the message board.
Oh, got it.
They're like, Flo sure did advertise that they give senior level wrestlers a free account. What are we supposed to do? Go over the senior list every year and mass email them all? If the senior level athlete needs a free account, hit us up. You get a free one.
Yeah, it's been that way for years.
Not difficult.
Sorry we give out not enough free stuff for you guys. You don't even know how much free stuff we give out. I said hundreds and hundreds. We have hundreds and hundreds of comped accounts on for FloWrestling. There's tons and tons. And there's more whatever. I don't know why we're talking about this. BWI is stupid. What's the sitch on Joe Smith? He was sick. Is the best celebration in wrestling the OSU Cowboy chant led by the wrestlers? It's pretty sick.
That was cool.
I don't know that I've ever seen, and I've been to like a ton of duels. I don't know if I've ever seen a wrestler do it before this duel.
Chris Perry did
it after he beat Howe.
Are you familiar with Chris?
Any more brainbusters, dude? At the NCAA finals.
But it wasn't in. Was it in NCAAs?
NCAA finals.
It wasn't.
Yeah. How many other teams have like a signature thing like that? Also,
that's the thing.
Like Penn State has "We Are," but like they don't like
start it with a W or something.
Yeah,
that would be lame.
What was crazy about Knicks is like you couldn't hear it that well because they were all still going crazy from the pin. But then when Chandler did it, they were all ready.
They were ready.
Ready to go that time. Yeah.
The moment played out well.
Yes. Have I ever been to a louder duel than Sunday in Gallagher-Iba? I have not ever been to a louder duel.
That place, I mean, when Pitch pinned Spencer, it was incredible. It was shaking. It
was shaking, literally shaking. It was going so insane. It happened the cradle. It wasn't like it was just like single, cradle, boom, immediately pinned. Like it just happened so fast. It just went 0 to 1,000.
Yeah, I was like looking around like, did that really just happen?
Yeah.
It was a quick pin, but Iowa fans, obviously Iowa fans are going to say it's a quick pin, but I think the Lugo one was faster. That Lugo pin was quick.
The Lugo was the quickest one you'll ever see.
That was the quickest of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a completely neutral statement for anything to do with Oklahoma State, or Oklahoma State, Iowa. I freaking hate when there's like a pin situation and you know that it's like, you're bracky, right, and you're shooting it, or you're like getting the clip from our shooter, and it takes like 48 seconds for them to call the pin.
I know.
It really hurts this is like me complaining as media. Like it really hurts the clip itself when it takes 58 seconds to pin the guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's me complaining about something that only applies to me. Sorry.
They called that one.
Yes, they did. They called it. They called it indeed. How do we see Christopher Kane? How do we see the match between Gable and Caesar going, a.k.a. Caesar, going? I see it going well for Gable Steveson.
Size. He's going to be able to stop Caesar's shots. You've said this before, right? When two guys wrestle who are pretty similar, it's a bad matchup in the sense that the one that is better can separate himself. And I see Caesar as like a smaller, slightly less athletic version of Gable.
Indeed.
Did somebody, that stuff that who was the Russian? Oh, Boltakayev. Remember how good Boltakayev was? And then
for 3 months,
somebody gave him a pill right before he stepped on the mat at the Olympics, and he just didn't do anything.
Yes,
like he didn't move.
Did
somebody give Caesar something that in that final with Derek White he just didn't do anything? Because that is the single most. It's like that doesn't even make sense compared to all his other matches.
No, I don't think. Well, it makes sense to me. I don't know. I thought he was particularly active. He just had he couldn't get through. It's not like he didn't shoot.
Bulk job's tough to shoot on.
Yeah, man. It was
even Gable. Gable had one shot. Now he made it count. It turned to a 6, but Gable didn't really shoot on bulk job.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
go rewatch it.
I kind of chalked that up to Gable kind of shutting down after he had a 6-point lead.
He might have, but
also Caesar hasn't faced like that much heat at this point. He's faced some good guys. He beat Neville's, maybe one of his best wins, but he's not been like.
I know what you're saying. It's out of character, but
I mean that's one of those things. That's one of those annoying things. It's like, yeah, he didn't shoot as much because he's not wrestling the Kent State heavyweight. It's like that's just what happens in wrestling. Okay, Sam Herring, the official middle school wrestler of FloWrestling.
This was great.
Out of the 10 winners from Oklahoma State versus Iowa duel, which is more likely? 0 champs or 3 champs?
He loves this
is his question. I love this question, though, because it's pretty tough. And the thing is, with like 25, on the one hand, it's like they're likely to get it, but you want your talent spaced out to skew for the higher number. So 25, 33, they could win. 65, they could win. I'm gonna say 0 is more likely. I'd be surprised if they had 3 champs between these two teams.
Yeah, 0 is more likely. I also don't like the people that answer like, well, it's going to be 1. It's like, that's not the question.
It's what's more likely, 0 or 3. Silly.
I agree that it's 0.
He also asked a really good question about, Dayton Fix using underhook primarily against Iowa guys, Ramos, Gilman, and here against DeSanto is like, if it's his Iowa specific game plan or why does he go do it? Man, I don't know, honestly. I mean, I know with Ramos, for sure, like, wrestling out of an underhook is, like, a good template to wrestle Tony. Like, Gilman kind of showed that, right? But as far as, like, against DeSanto and against Gilman himself, I don't really know. I don't know why he uses it. I'm not the technical mind. Maybe one of you guys are, but I don't really know that, Sam.
Well, yeah, it's just something I hadn't quite noticed it to the extent that Sam did. So now, going forward, yeah, I think it's something to look at. I think that's a really good technical note that Sam picked up on there.
Tech notes. Bracky, what's up, man? What's been the vibe on Facebook?
Oh, it's been good. A lot of conversation just about. We have 479 comments.
Dang.
Which is a lot.
Well, okay, yeah, but 260 of them are fellers, probably.
He's actually been pretty calm today.
What happened to him that one? You should have banned him.
He joined late. Other people wanted me to ban him that day.
I mean,
no, you do not ban fellers.
I think he, dude, he's.
I'm not gonna ban him.
We also know that Fellers is 100. Like, we know he's trolling. Like, there's no.
He said, "What about the DeSanto memes?" There have been a lot of memes made of the Dayton going across the throat. I would like to mention that for a second.
Yes, please.
First of all, Hawkeye Report, chill out. He didn't rear naked choke him. It was for like 2 seconds. The ref immediately got in and was like, "Hey, stop it," and he did. And also, if you're you want to be a fan of DeSanto's antics, and when he kind of pushes the line, you got to be prepared to take it when guys do it back to him.
Classic dish it and take it situation here.
That was. I don't know for sure because I wasn't in the building. That seemed like a message from Dayton.
And everyone was.
It 100% was
like,
because.
Hey, dude,
right before
this match.
Right before that, DeSanto kind of got his base a little bit, and then Dayton like really threw the hips in and like got him flattened out, and the place went nuts. And I think Dayton just got a little amped up and just went.
How about the introductory boo?
Love it.
The booing of DeSanto.
I loved it because it just shows how knowledgeable the fans are to know that like, hey, this is the bad guy, and we're gonna try to get in his head and rattle him. And they did it right as soon as he walked out on the mat too after the Spencer pin. They were like still all kind of cheering, and then he walked out and they all booed him again.
You know, and it brings up two things that I want to bring up. One, I want to talk about home field advantage. Don't let me forget to bring that up. But two, everyone's like, if DeSanto did that to Dayton, everyone would be freaking out.
I wouldn't freak out.
No, hold on. Yes, of course we would. Of course everyone would freak out. Do you want to know why? Because Austin DeSanto tried to hurt two people last year. He spat on a mat this year. Okay? He's had some issues, right? So, yeah, if you go across the throat like that, probably, and maybe no man would say, yeah, I don't care, and maybe, but for good reason, everyone would freak out because this is a guy with a track record. So, of course, it's different for Dayton who's never really done anything like that, and compared to DeSanto, who's tried to injure wrestlers in matches. Period. Yes, it's different.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
yes, it's different. There's a track record.
So yeah, people would freak out. I wouldn't necessarily judge it or say like, oh, I mean, we have been Team DeSanto all along here. We have been trying to, calm people down about the things he's done and minimize it every step of the way. But yeah, people are going to freak out if DeSanto goes across the throat. Now, I wanted to talk about home mat advantage because Coach Brands had said, man, it's not a thing. He's like, get it out of your mind. It's just all I see is a great crowd, which I think that does need to be your message when you're the coach. Like, you can't let that factor in the ad for a second. But I do think it impacts it in some way.
Did he take a shot at Carver Hawkeye?
Well, yeah, like it would help him in Carver. It would help him in Carver. Or anyone. It would help all the Hawkeyes in Carver.
Oh, Coach Brands often says about the great crowds, and, I mean, he knows it helps. He knows it helps the Hawks at home.
For sure. I think, you could say, if nothing else, just being able to wrestle in your own place and wake up in your own bed is an advantage, right? And even if you're able to block up.
Here too, Christian, I mean, you never like the idea of momentum, and I get why, but when the place is electric and you start off by pinning their national champion, that gotta fire the guys up, right?
How about, for sure. How about Marinelli gets that pin to make it 12-12? That duel could have been Iowa could have won that match. There were after that one there were like 3 or 4 those 4 matches they could have won. They just simply did not.
Do we? No, it's a conversation for another time.
Another thing about the Hawkeyes, like their fans, like going overboard about this loss is, look, we said they match up well, but look, Kemmer's out. Stoll is like a shell of himself because of injuries. And you still were in it was 12-12 after 6 bouts. I mean, the sky's not falling.
It's not falling, Hawkeye fans.
It's going
to be all right.
I want to offer my personal opinion on a couple things in the DeSanto fix. I don't see how you can call Dayton for stalling in the third. I have a hard time calling stalling when the guy's head or belly is on the mat. Now, stalemate maybe, but I have a hard time calling Dayton for stalling there. Now, I could certainly see what Christian was saying about calling for stalling in neutral when he's going out of bounds a couple times. But again, DeSanto took one shot. The one time that he was talking about, that wasn't a real shot in the sense that he shot him to get a stall call, not shot to score. Now, that doesn't mean he shouldn't have gotten the stall call, but that wasn't a legitimate offensive attempt to get a takedown. If Dayton had been hit for stalling, I wouldn't have lost my mind. But DeSanto wasn't. He was doing a lot of pushing. He was holding center, which I was probably the best in the country at holding center, or at least top 3. But there has to be more than that to me to justify a lot of stalling calls.
That's a good take, Nomad. There's a shot to shoot you out of bounds, and then there's a shot that you're trying to score with. Right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
And that's when the rule first came out, and me and Christian, and they had a video with it, and that's the first thing me and Christian said is like, this is going to be a disaster because, and it's the same in rear standing. How do you know who's pushing, who's pulling?
Well,
How
I
do you
think
know who's?
They don't have to make a call when it's top bottom. It's just for neutral.
Yeah.
They don't have to, but they do.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They did in like there's no like action call necessary there. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and they hit for clearance for it, but I think these were more egregious and repeated. I mean, even okay, Iowa fans, don't flip out when I say this, but there were a couple times when Stoll and Warner crawled off the mat to get a fresh start.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they should have been hit, but we've seen people get hit for that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here it is, 9:40 in the morning here in Austin, Texas. Let's get on out of here. Let's call it a day.
For all of those of you watching, please tweet at me whatever allocation, seeding questions you are most interested in for NCAAs, and I will do my best to have it all prepared for Thursday.
He'll do his best. That's all we can ask from Willie, from Kyle, from me. Just do our best. We thank you guys so much. 356 down, 356 more to go, at least. We thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back Thursday. I don't think Nomad's leaving Thursday. Can you commit to Thursday?
I'm so excited. I get to actually watch the Dan Kolov this weekend. Team USA sent a group of hammers, a lot of A's and B's on the men's and women's side. Big teams. It's going to be awesome.
A's and B's. Looking like
Kyle?
Willie's report card.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'll be here.
who's
Oh,
there for
yeah,
Kyle?
yeah.
Somebody
I'm
good,
not,
right?
I'm not going anywhere.
No, I'm talking about Koloff. Kyle Snyder.
Oh, yeah. Kyle Snyder, perhaps the Leopard of Jabbar. It's time to go.
Yes.
If you want to talk Koloff, you had an hour and 41 minutes. Now it's time I'm signing off. It's sign-off time. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.